We're giving foreign aid to China, but we're actually using Chinese borrowed money to do it. So we pay back the borrowed money with interest, but then part of that, even if it's a small amount, goes back to actually aid to that very country. So I actually think that there's a case to be made for looking at the aggregate of a bunch of the small expenses that fly below the radar of actual scrutiny. And in many cases, that adds up to something that could make a dent, even in the comparison to big expenses. So I wouldn't understate the importance of that.
Yeah, and it's crazy, too, just because China is also our number one adversary from a national security perspective, even as we're having this conversation. So you've talked about it. You had this Wall Street Journal op-ed a couple weeks ago. It's not just cost-cutting. It is restructuring, to your point. It's regulatory rescissions, administrative reductions, and cost savings is what you said in that op-ed.
Right.
So it raises the question, how much of this is going to be fundamental changes to, for example, the way the government is contracting and interacting with private sector as well, and looking to glean services and looking to run itself?
Yeah, look, that's certainly in scope. But I come back to the broad principle. The people we elect to run the government aren't the ones who run the government. And we fought a revolution in 1776 expressly to ensure that we had that chain of accountability. That's created this leviathan of an administrative state, the millions of civil servants who were never elected or even politically appointed to their positions. And part of the problem was you have millions of people who shouldn't have a job that are in that position. They find things to do. So it's not that their headcount costs are actually the major issue. It's the fact that they take on responsibilities that go beyond the scope of what the federal government should have been doing. And the best evidence we have for that is that you look at the Supreme Court over the last few years, effectively telling the administrative state that much of what you're doing is illegal. Countless cases in the last several years alone, including at the Supreme Court.